No, I wanted to wait until at least I heard somebody talk about this. And lo and behold, the Slag Daddy at OTR Central did talk about it. And I was thinking about exactly how anybody would respond to exactly what we saw last night on Raw with the Divas. Now, I heard what you had to say, Jeff, and you have a point. You know, things will things will happen when we see it happen. People say, "Oh, these divas are gonna revolutionize wrestling. They're the future of wrestling." Yeah, we'll believe it when we see it, and I get your point there. But I think what you and anybody else that doubts what happened last night to be a good thing, I think what you have to understand, and I've talked about this before. You see, the reason people grasp on to anything positive that the WWE might throw their way is due to the fact that they're looking for that one piece of that puzzle. They're looking for that one ingredient, that one magical key that'll turn the WWE back around and into a WWE that was similar to the Ruthless Aggression era and somewhat a little bit of that Attitude era. That is what they're hoping for. They're hoping for that one piece to show up, that one piece of the puzzle, that one key element that's going to turn the WWE back into something similar as to what we had essentially, about 7.5 years ago. That 7.5 to 8 years ago. That is what they're hoping for. And you know why? Because they believe that. And you know why? Because they believe once that happens, things get better for everyone, for all parties involved. And again, Jeff, I totally get what you're saying about, we'll believe it when we see it. And and you're right about one thing. As long as Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon, mostly not just Vince McMahon, but someone like Kevin Dunn is behind the scenes doing what he's doing, things aren't going to really change. Unless Triple H and Stephanie were able to talk Vince McMahon into saying, hey, let somebody else write the Diva segment so that good people get invested and things happen. Let somebody else write for the Divas. Or let them just go out and be themselves. Unless Stephanie and Triple H, mostly Triple H, came out and said to Vince, and suggested that to Vince, then you're right. As long as someone like, let's say, Kevin Dunn is running things behind the scenes along with Vince McMahon, things aren't going to change. But I think what this whole situation is, though, with the Divas and all that, is the fact that whoever is trying to write this story, I can't really say if they're trying to write something that might be compelling. Because right now, the vibe I get from this whole page, this whole team, what is it? What are they going to call themselves? Team Revolution or Team Rebellion or Team, whatever they call themselves. This Team Bella, this Team Bad, and what are they going to call themselves? Team Page or Team Next or Next Gen or whatever. Whatever it is. What I see here, from what I can even describe, is it's basically a storyline that if the rumors are true about the Bellas, or at least one of them, if not both, leaving the WWE very soon, we just don't know when, but we know the contracts are coming up, then this is a storyline, obviously, that I guess whoever's trying to write it is trying to build up as to say, here's Team Paige and her allies, here's Team Bad, best at dominating, in Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks. And here they are, even though they're indifferent and all that, here they are trying to vanquish the Bellas. Try to get these two, with the exception of Alicia, out of the company. And again, I don't know who's behind it, but like you said, we'll believe it when we see it, that the WWE, whoever's behind this storyline, starts getting it right. And starts straightening things out and less confusing. In other words, make things to the point that at least it's watchable, and maybe these girls can pop the ratings that the Divas of the past had popped before. Now again, I don't know, like I said, if this is all part of a storyline to send the Bellas off with, because like I said, rumors are flying high that one, if not both, will be leaving after the contracts are done. I don't know. All I know is all I know is this. We need to, the WWE, the creative, needs to establish who the good girls are, who the good divas are, the bad divas, and the anti-divas. Or in this case, the tweener divas. Whatever you want to call them. Because right now, it's a very gray area with the Divas division. You're not establishing that the Bellas and Alicia, or Team Bella, if you will, are the evil ones, are the bad girls. What you're establishing is a gray area here. You're not establishing a threat with the diva. You're not establishing some kind of the Bellas as a major threat. Like they have to go. You haven't really established them as that yet. And mainly what WWE has done here, as positive as it is to have 3 additional divas, especially very athletic ones, in Lynch, Sasha, and Charlotte, on the roster, what you've basically done is turn this into basically, when one looks at it, is you've turned the Divas division into a 3-diva faction war. All you've done is create 2 additional factions to feud with Team Bella. You created Team Bad, Best at Dominating, consisting of Sasha, Naomi, and Tamina. And whatever their team's going to be, Team Revolution, I guess, in Paige, Charlotte, and Sasha. I mean, I thought I heard something. Thought something went off. Sorry there. But like I say, Team Revolution, or whatever they're going to call themselves, in Paige, Charlotte, and Becky. If I said Sasha, I apologize. Sasha's on Team Bad. But you have this happening. You've basically, instead of making it all equal, you've created factions. You've turned the Divas division into a war of diva factions. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but guess what? That doesn't work. If this is all about equality for the divas, equal opportunity for the divas, I don't know, during that melee, shouldn't you have had, I don't know, Becky and Charlotte, even though they're siding with Paige, I don't know, fight each other to basically show it's every diva for themselves? I mean, I can understand that storyline-wise, you want to have allies for Paige. You want to equal things out so that, Team Bella at least doesn't pull off the same crap they've done before. I get that. I get the numbers game that you want to go with. But let's not forget one thing. You have other divas on that roster, both NXT and main roster, that are currently on that main roster or be coming up real soon. I mean, think about it. You have Natty that right now she's with her husband, and you know, pray for a speedy recovery for Tyson on there. But you have Natalya, okay? You have Cameron, wherever she is. You have Rosa Mendez, and you possibly have Eva Marie. All right? You have those ladies, and whoever else they can get. And then on the NXT side of things, you have Bayley. Okay, you have Bayley. And who else? You got that second coming of Beth Phoenix, whatever her name is. You have her down there. You have Blue Pants, who obviously is going to get a contract eventually down the line. You know. You got her. Who else do you have? You have Carmella, I think that's her name. You have, what is that, Alexis Bliss or whatever her name is. So, you got all of them. What's going to happen when some of those ladies come up? When Natalya comes back? When Cameron shows her face again? When Rosa Mendez gets involved again? You know, what's going to happen? Are you going to create a faction out of the divas that are left over, and then it's just going to be two more additional factions? It's going to be an all-out factional war for, dominance? What sense does that make? What sense? It's like if you created different factions for the superstar division. What sense does that make? I mean, okay, it makes more sense in the superstar division because you have several championships they can go after. The WWE title, the WWE World title, the US title, the Intercontinental title, the tag titles. You have those championships. That makes sense for a faction. Action to exist on the superstar level of things. When you have factions in Divas divisions, they don't make sense, especially if you only have one championship. Now, if you're going to count the NXT Women's Championship into the mix, fine, that makes two. But still, it doesn't make no sense. One or two championships doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make any sense. To me, like I said, the only reason I think they're trying to put this together is so that Team Bella will get the comeuppance, be defeated, and in the long run, if the rumors are true that one, if not both, are leaving the company if the contract's expired, basically have a team or have basically a group of girls together, put together to basically take out the Bellas and oust them from the company for good. If that's what this whole thing's about, then fine. I can understand that. I can understand if that's the plan, but you need to make it more straightforward, and you need to make it, like I said, you need to make it more straightforward, and you need to make more sense out of it. And the only way you're going to make sense out of that is if you allow the Divas to at least try to be themselves in that ring, let them say their own thing if they want to say it, or have some of the creative writers from NXT come up that have given the Divas down there proper storylines and stuff, have them come up and write for the Divas division, so at least people pay attention, and it can be on that equal level. The only way I see these factions working is if the women had additional championships to go after, because come on, honestly, how many factions, men or women, have we seen when there's only been one major championship they want to go after? How many of those factions have fallen apart storyline-wise because the other members want that title? A lot. A lot. And anytime you do have a faction, like I mentioned earlier, you should have a faction to where if it's in a division, in a certain division or division or area of your company, then make sure that division or area has as many championships as you can offer for everybody to have a chance to hold the title, to show that they are the better divas, to show they are the better superstars, that they are the dominating divas, that they are best at dominating, like Team Badin says they will be. You know, say that, show the championship gold that they have, to show that they've taken over. You know, don't just have one championship and say, okay, we're going to follow you and all that. I mean, come on, honestly. Team Bad. I look at the potential there, but how can you not say that if Sasha gets the Divas title, and she will, there's no doubt about it, that Naomi, who hasn't had the belt yet, isn't going to want that championship too? Or let's say Naomi gets it, and Sasha, the way she gets portrayed sometimes, whether it's a babyface or not, doesn't want to have a shot at it or wants to be champion. Come on, honestly. The only way this is going to work is if they add the NXT Women's title. If they decide to have the NXT Women's Championship defended on not just NXT but also on the main roster as well. That's the only way it's going to work, because that way it gives equality, and at least whoever has both belts in their faction can say, hey, look, we're the more dominant divas. We're the dominant divas. We're the more dominant women wrestlers. That makes more sense than just having 3 different factions, 3 different stables, if you will, that only has one championship representing them. It doesn't make sense. I mean, come on, honestly, storyline-wise. You don't think Alicia Fox doesn't see Nikki Bella as the not Belly, I'm sorry about that. Sorry, Nikki, I didn't mean to call that to you. Call you that. I mean, you don't think storyline-wise Alicia Fox doesn't see Nikki Bella as the champion and not want that title back herself? She does. I mean, let's not forget, whether you like Alicia Fox or you don't, Alicia Fox was a dominant Divas champion. She was. Short reign, yes, but she showed she could be more dominant than probably any diva out there. But now she's a follower in Team Bella, and she's following someone that has something she wants? This doesn't make sense. Again, the only reason I think they're trying to put this together is to equal everything out with the Bellas, because they always have the numbers game. But storyline-wise, I think it's to basically write the Bellas off, potentially, off of WWE for good, or for who knows how long, when both, if not one of them, decides to leave and pursue opportunities outside the company, when their contracts expire, or at least one does. That's the only reason I see this happening. Now, I know some people might say, and I know, Jeff, you might hear this as well, some people might say, oh, well, you know what? This gives potential to probably create diva tag team titles. Look, we got a lot of divas now. Now not only can they go after the diva championship, but they can also have potential to do a divas tag team division. We can have tag team champions. Well, for some of you that are thinking that, yes, that would be nice. But how long is that going to last? Unless you have a strong women's division that's so in depth with women on it that you could justify doing that, then fine. Go ahead and do it. But guess what? Right now, your division is focused on 6 main ladies. What's going to happen? You create Divas tag titles. What are you going to do? Put it on the Bellas first, or put it on Brie and Alicia first, and then have them lose it to what? Charlotte and Becky? And then have Charlotte and Becky lose it to Naomi and Tamina, and then back to Alicia and Brie, and da-da-da-da-da? No. I mean, if you had someone like, let's say Summer Rae, and have her team up with Rosa Mendez, then yeah, that'd be an idea. That might work. Then you'd have a different team to go with. You know, you have Cameron maybe come back and have her team with, I don't know, whoever you could think of. Maybe have her team up with Natalya or Eva Marie, and